is a Fox 17 winter weather alert.
Welcome back. Saturday morning, everybody, 8:43, and we're getting reports of some things starting to ice over off into our northern communities of the viewing area. Elevated objects, surfaces, likely shrubbery, probably those power lines too. Starting to feel the effects of this colder air meeting up with the rainfall, which has lightened up, by the way, in recent hours. We have not had as heavy of rain recently, which is good because we received about 1.5 inches or maybe slightly shy of that in GR, about 1.75 inches or a bit more than that in Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. These are the temperatures off the model at 10:15 this morning, 32 in Grand Rapids. Right now, or at least the latest observation from the airport in GR was 35, but we are trickling down. So you can notice that there can be some ice starting to become obvious on your car windows, car tops, things like that. I think the ground will have a lag effect where it'll kind of hang in there decently until we progress through the afternoon and into this evening. Having said that, you can't rule out that there would be some slick spots, especially the further north that you travel in the viewing area where the cold air will be a little bit deeper, a little bit more noticeable, probably more like the upper 20s by late morning and afternoon for extreme northern sections. Big Rapids, Fremont, over to Hart. This is at 1 o'clock. Let's continue out in motion by early this evening. 30 in GR. So as I've talked about a few times this morning, 30 to 32 with freezing rain. Yes, it does cause ice, but it's not quite as devastating as something 29 or lower where you typically get a lot of ice to form quickly. So maybe that does save us on the roadways a little bit. Bottom line is the overpasses, you got to be careful, especially along I-96 and northward, and really on any roadway. As I've been talking about many times this morning, if your car thermometer, if you see it say 32 or 30 and it is raining, you really need to take it easy and not be driving very fast because there could be some ice when you least expect it. Temperatures tonight do drop into the lower 20s, so we will be getting cold enough to shift over to snow. This is after a long period, though, it looks like, of freezing rain and ultimately likely some sleet in there as well. Ice accrual will be between about 1/4 inch to 1/3 inch. But there may be some spots closing in on 1/2 inch, particularly out in the easternmost zones of our viewing area. A lot of this will hinge on when we switch over to snow, which the trends on the models have been for that to happen earlier. Right now in this bright pink area, still holding on to a 2 to 4 inch snow. There is some prospect, though, that we could see a little bit more than that, especially to the north of GR, and are forecasting more than 4 inches, 4 to 7 plus. In fact, for that blue shaded area, we'll be changing over, I do believe, in GR between about 7 and 10 o'clock this evening to some snowfall, give or take. And of course, that'll be later the further east you reside and further southward, where lesser amounts will come down overall, and much lesser closer to the Indiana line. We've got colder air brewing out to the northwest, but the good news that I have to report on the backside of this system is that we are not charging major Arctic air into our neck of the woods. Sometimes that can happen on the backside of winter storms. Will not be the case. In fact, a somewhat mild pattern will be in store for next work week. Saturday planner, here we are, dropping back slowly but surely into the 30-degree range by noon and kind of hovering around 30 or 31, and then ultimately kind of just giving way to the upper 20s, I think, by late day. And that's when the slick conditions can really become a problem at that time. A northeast wind about 20 to 25, gusting to 30 to 35, 40 even. Maybe even a little bit higher in spots as we go through this day. So it will be blustery. It already is, and it's going to be continuing for quite some time. The changeover to freezing rain is knocking on the door in Grand Rapids by about 10 o'clock. And then we will see that wintry mixture go over to snow later on this evening. Having said all this, I'm not looking for a torrential downpour late morning and afternoon as we get into the freezing rain. Kind of just a persistent, light brand of freezing rain that will start to be causing more and more problems with time. When you get several hours of this, you can see that it's mainly a rain down to the south, some mixing starting to happen off to the north. The model showing that does drop southward with time. Closer to the Indiana line will probably be a plain rain or something very close to it for a lot of hours today. Here comes that snow line, though, cruising through, say 7 to 10 o'clock tonight. We'll get 2 to 4 inch snow. And again, when that changes over will dictate amounts entirely. Some sunshine. How about that? Finally, we'll see it on Sunday. It'll be cold, though, in the 20s. Returning, though, Brody and Sarah, not bad. Some melting already by early next week.